Thank you, Neeta. Thank you, Nonita. Thank you, Gautam, for joining us in this panel. It is such an honor that, I am sitting here having this conversation because I know how much I'm going to learn from you all today. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Now, before I go forward, I was just going through and doing my research, and I came across this very wonderful quote, and Nonita, it was in Harper's itself, from Bill Cunningham. It says, "Fashion is the armor to survive the reality of everyday life." Before we go forward, I'd like each one of you in 2 to 3 statements, just go ahead and say, what does fashion mean to you? Starting with Neeta.
So for me, fashion is a lifestyle that creates the aura, the persona of who you are and what you aspire to be. So fashion, like you just really said, is your front and it keeps you going. It's your alter ego that is always there to get you to where you want with a lot of conviction in what you want to look like and your personality.
Super. Thank you. Nonita.
Fashion for me is storytelling. And I agree with Neeta. It's actually the cinema of your life. When you wake up in the morning and you say, I want to wear black, it's because there's either politics or economics or something that you're feeling. It's a combination of these things. The colors you choose, the fabrics, the designers you're inclined to, it's all part of your personal storytelling. So fashion is maybe the most intimate way you have of wearing your heart on your sleeve.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. Gautam.
Pretty much what they're saying, it's an expression of individuality. Each day I wake up, I feel different. The lockdown's especially been an amazing period because every day has been a journey. And I think what I wear, or there are days I want to dress up, there are days I want to underdress. So it really is a reflection of who I am today. And it's an expression of individuality, really.
Yeah, I think it expresses your internal story and it kind of manifests it on the outside. To me, that is what fashion is. Now, after we've done this, Nonita, you are with Harper's, you've been the editor for the longest times. How have you seen fashion evolve in India vis-a-vis its Western counterparts, European counterparts?
So, you know what? There are 2 ways of looking at that. We could look at fashion as the way through a Western construct, right?
Yeah.
And that evolved starting 2000 when the first Fashion Week happened, because then there was a schedule to it. Yeah. So I always say, an economist needs a budget to sort of check the parameters of the economy based on policy and achievement and GDP. Fashion Weeks gives you that schedule. So you can say, okay, season 1, season 2. And that's one way of looking at it. But I'd like to see Indian fashion as much older. And I think that's how we need to start viewing fashion. Indian fashion is its culture, its craft, its textile. And it's existed for a really long time. And I don't think we've done enough studies on what happened then. And, when someone like Neeta does a period film and she does the research on that, for me, that is fashion. But of course, magazines and everybody do a mix of both. We try and align our calendars and our seasonality with what's happening in the Western world, because let's get real, fashion has to be without borders. The only way for fashion to be effective is if it's a global conversation, because movements happen in that way, economies evolve in that way. Now with this recession, we're all going to see clothing change. Yeah. So fashion in the Western construct, India has actually been bang on. I remember when I was at Elle in 2000, I was very surprised that we would see a trend internationally and it would have a reflection. Countries reject and accept trends based on sensibilities. So dungarees never caught on in India, but we've been bang on in terms of trend. But our story for me lies in textile and craft.
Okay. Now, Neeta, would you like to...
truck in their background having a lot of fun.
I stay next to the hospital, so that's my...
Oh.
All right, fine. We're safe then.
Yes. Okay. Neeta, would you like to add on something to that?
Yeah, so as Nonita said, we've been on the forefront of fashion latently or out there in today's times. I think since we are doing the edutainment show, I want to take this back a little to the students' perspective. In terms of fashion, India is now coming to the forefront rather than earlier, much earlier, where we used to get our inspirations, we used to get knowledge about what's going on and apply that to our sensibilities in India, you know. But the thing is that why are we looking at the West becoming the foremost? That's because our inclination to education for the students in today's times is now gradually becoming more focused. Whereas in the Western world, wherever you go to Europe, you go to America, wherever they teach you the basics and they see what the students are inclined to. And there is a kind of a focus to teach them what they can pick up and grasp and they can master. Therefore, you see pattern makers, you see illustrators having a sensibility and core job. Today, stylists is a core niche that every student aspires to be because of the boom. So, and that is where styling is becoming so evolved in India. In the same way, if we can, get students to focus on the other aspects of the fashion field, whether it's illustration, merchandising, marketing, whatever, I think we will not be the ones who will be following, we will be the ones who are leading.
Okay, so somewhere you are saying that the way it is dealt abroad or the way it is dealt in the Western counterparts, it's much more organized, and that's where somewhere we lag.
Yes.
Okay, Neeta, do you agree or disagree on something? Would you like to contribute something on that? Nonita, sorry.
It's really interesting. And I was talking to the head of Institute of Marangoni in Bombay, and she said that in each country, they focus on the particular country's strengths. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, Milan will have a certain focus, Paris has a certain focus. In India, I think Neeta's right. We've not allowed our students to develop a strong enough Indian voice. We keep taking syllabus and sort of cut pasting it, and then you'll have geniuses. Oh my God, from 2000 at Fashion Week, we saw one genius after the other. You saw Sabya, you saw Manish, you saw Rajesh, but they had to break away and create their own voice. I'm not sure if education helped them or hampered their way forward.
Okay. Now, funneling it further down, Gautam, the question is to you now. Funneling it further down, how do you see that whatever the preparations have been, whatever the education has been, how fashion in India has evolved, or how do you see it will evolve to tomorrow? Where, vis-a-vis tomorrow, vis-a-vis today, how do you see it tomorrow?
Well, that's a very intense and many questions, but to try and keep it short, I think we've all known each other for a long time here. And like Nonita rightly said, the Fashion Week came and brought in a certain system of seasons and working in advance for the designers and collections. And, styling came in. When I came in as a stylist, I mean, people would literally be looking at me and saying, who's this guy? What does he do? And photographers kind of pushed us on and said, there's this guy, he's a stylist, they had to be educated. And I think then came the whole revival of craft and sustainability, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Digital media, I mean, that's huge. Magazines came in, and now it's all about social media because it's so easy to reach in the digital age. And I think this lockdown is really going to teach us a lot. And we are already all focusing more on how to survive in the current scenario of, the digital age, because you're safe, you're socially distanced, and you can actually, like I was talking to somebody the other day, I think to Tarun Tailiani, we were talking about, and I said, you know what, the shows probably, I mean, it's going to be difficult to do live shows now because of social distancing and Corona. But the thing is, the reality is that people were anyway watching most of the shows sitting in their homes at night when they were free. So it was always digital that I saw most of the shows that I wasn't doing. I would be able to catch it online. And I think going forward, keeping Corona in mind, I think like Nonita again had brushed upon this, there's going to be a lot about how to wear. Do you really need as many clothes that you own? How do you rewear something, And I think it's also been a lot about internalizing, and it's about comfort and ease and, just downplaying everything, what is actually real and what's not. So I think digital age is really going to get much stronger now, and we're all going to have to adapt to survive. And yeah, I think there's going to be major changes going ahead, and I think they were required.
Neeta, now, because you've been there for the longest times as a fashion designer, as a costume designer, you've done so many films, you've been awarded so many places. What was your yesterday as a costume designer, as a fashion designer, and what is going to be your tomorrow in terms of whether it is your couture collections, whether it is your pret, whether it is, the kind of fabrics that you use, whether it is the kind of, demographics that you're kind of going ahead and selling to? How do you see the difference from your today, yesterday, and the coming tomorrow?
So, if I have to sum up my yesterday in one word, yesterday was a carnival. I mean, everything was available. It was fun. It was hunky-dory. You could do whatever you want at the drop of a hat. You could get fabrics that you wanted, Indian fabrics, imported fabrics. Everything was available. The world was on a roll, and there was a lot of data available. In fact, there was a data boom, I can say, good, bad, ugly, everything was there. Today, suddenly, you've got to take a back seat, sit down, and either get nervous and scared about it. But you know what? We as Indians are a very enterprising lot. We adapt and adapt and everything together at the same time. And we're ready for the kill. Like, despite the fact that, there's nothing you can do about work, being a workaholic, the entire channel system has changed to different kinds of works. So whether it's a workout, whether it's cooking, whether it's painting, whether it's studying what you want to do, we're all doing that, and we're all getting into that. So coming to what is going to be there tomorrow, we are kind of getting ready with and putting our minds at rest that tomorrow is going to be different, it's going to be good, and that's what we call it the new normal. The fact that tomorrow we will need to now learn, by default we'll be going into sustainability much faster, which we wouldn't have gone prior to Corona. We are getting into sustainability, and for Indians, the major aspect of sustainability is reusability. And we will be looking at how we can use our garments, reuse our garments, the outfits people buy. How can we as designers guide them to buy clothes which they can reuse, and heritage fabrics. Hemp is becoming a big talk of the town. Pineapple-based fabrics, all plant-based fabrics are becoming big. And we're talking about it. So yeah, we are moving in a direction which is going to be positive, which is going to be introspective, and is going to have some basis of creating a heritage of our own once again.
Sorry, Neeraj, if I may just add to what Neeta just said. I think the word I was also looking for earlier, which she also brushed upon, is we are going to be making more conscious choices as we go forward. And I think we will. If we are irresponsible, we won't, but I guess we will. Yeah. And I also think that it's going to be survival of the fittest. Going forward, there was a lot of chaos. Everything had become a supermarket. Too many stylists, too many designers, too many this. And I think what's going to survive is people with passion, people who are not complacent, people who know their craft, who are good at what they do. Because there really is, it had become too much. So I think there's going to be a lot of editing in everything as we go forward, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're speaking about editing, let me give you the magazine perspective, right? I mean, there is no doubt that you have to be digital because you print a magazine, and how are you distributing it?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The quality of images that magazines demand need to be shot. You need teams. Nobody's meeting anybody. Yeah. So with digital, you can do this, all right? But you're right. We say digital, but I think we've already fast forwarded to a much further space. Yeah. What kind of digital? Okay, the age of Bollywood as an influencer is over because they don't seem real. People don't care. The age of the influencer who at this time of the pandemic is showing you 5 ways to wear a skirt when you're sitting at home, or showing you their wardrobes and their expensive clothing, people are disgusted by it. So what's going to survive is intelligent content. And that's going to be the most exciting part, because I will say this. Yeah. Journalism, fashion journalism in India has never reached where it should have. And, I've always wondered about it because Indian journalists are at par with international journalists. Their writing, their reportage, their criticism, critique has been amazing. But in journalism and fashion journalism, either you have someone who's very bitter and very nasty and you can see a personal bias, or you have someone saying fabulous things. Magazines try to give you a sort of an edit by what they chose. Magazines, I think, by what they didn't write about or what they didn't include, were doing their editing without being nasty, because there are ways of communicating. So, fashion magazines were the only place where you saw some sort of fashion journalism, but the sort of great writers the West had, or photographers, Bill Cunningham, Anna Wintour said she would get dressed every morning for him. Yeah. He talked about never going to parties and shooting people, because he says their people have stylists. I want street style. And not the street style by some blogger outside doing outfit of the day. So I think we're going to fast forward to a period of really good journalism. But again, if you're asking for really good journalists, it'll be a handful. It won't be an all-over movement. But there will be standout names. Just like, Gautam said, it's going to be survival of the fittest. I think it's going to be survival of the smartest.
Yeah.
People with integrity, people with honesty.
Yeah. Now, taking your point forward on smartness, integrity, and honesty, Nonita, the question again comes to you. Fast fashion has become a way of life. Do you see this going? How do you see this going forward? Is it going to be there, or is it going to be a part of our tomorrow? And if it is going to be, how much percentage? It's going to go down because everybody is becoming very conscious of what they should wear, or is it going to grow?
You know what? My prediction, and you can slap me for saying this, because the truth is, we'd like to think people will change, but as soon as things open, people are going back to exactly what they were. All right? The large percentage.
Okay.
They're already shopping on Zara. As we were sitting, Zara message saying there's a sale, fill your basket. As soon as it turns to 9 p.m., it's going to be a discount. It's going to happen, but not because people are foolish about consumption. It's because it's very hard to get good clothing at a good price. And that is the gap that our designers have always had. Either you're paying 7 lakhs for a lehenga, or you're paying 35,000 for a simple dress. And they can't be faulted. It costs them more, their volumes are low, real estate is expensive, there's no support from the government. But your average person doesn't want to spend 35,000 rupees. They want to spend 2,000. But what will happen, and Neeta and Gautam both touched upon it, while fast fashion will grow, I think people will choose better and they will rewear. And we have used this word. Bazaar launched the rewear movement this year, and we talked about wearing your clothes over and over again. That's what will happen. And, Neeta again touched upon it when she talked about pineapple fabric. The future is going to be technology, not sustainable. Sustainable fashion is not a thing, it's responsible fashion.
In fact, even for education, the future is going to be digital and technology. So we need to add in and touch upon digital mediums of learning. Not teaching the students, but teaching them something about digital, whether it's merchandising, styling, fabrics, whatever, coming up with new fabric textures and different forms of fabrics through digital mediums. This is what our students should be learning going forward.
Gautam, taking forward the discussion on that, technology and digital are going to be the tomorrow. Now, one has seen as democratic as technology makes us all feel, it also goes ahead and takes away our uniqueness. People, in the name of inspiration, go ahead and plagiarize, because now things are easily available for you to go ahead and copy. What's your take on that, and how can that be contained in the coming tomorrow, if there is a containment to it?
I think copying is very flattering at one level. I mean, someone like me would never ever do it, and but I think that's always going to exist. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of editing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think this should be called out. I'm glad there's a diet sabya today. He's not always correct. He's 85% correct. There needs to be more diet sabyas. Yeah. Maybe Nonita should be a diet sabya, actually. She should open something like that.
You never know, maybe she is.
Maybe she
no,
I don't think she has the time right now.
Not she cannot be that.
I'm just kidding now.
But I'm just saying that look, the thing is that there's going to be all kinds of people. You know, I can only talk about myself, and I can surround myself with people who are original and have individuality and who don't copy. But I think call out people who do, and but not everybody should have a voice, but too many people do. So I think there's nothing you can do. But I really think that if you're going to copy and you're going to do all this more and more, we really are. If let's say I was buying 10 garments today, and tomorrow maybe I'll buy 3 or 2, I'll really choose wise. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just trying to say. So people who want to copy will keep copying, but it's our choice. It's our responsibility not to buy them or not to promote them. You know. So I really think that that's what it's about.
Nonita, would you like to add on something, please?
Here's the thing. It's very, very simple. When you have the idea and it's your original idea, and I have seen this happen in magazines all the time.
Yeah.
I welcome other people to go out and copy it because I know how I do it will be different.
Yeah.
It's my baby. It's my idea. You know, Gautam and I've had the pleasure of working with each other. By the way, neither are we married nor are we siblings. And people have copied Gautam's work so much, literally at a point where it reached some place as a mood board and someone flicked it. But what he did with it was different. And so I actually welcome it. I'm like, you go ahead and copy. If I can help you and maybe help you in a direction that you can think a certain way, go do it. Maybe it'll give you a place to find your own original voice. So I have this great confidence. I know Neeta's been copied endlessly, but when you finally want to buy something, you go to Neeta Lulla if you're looking for a particular thing. And for a lot of us, we want the discerning audience, the discerning reader. Because they're the people who will walk with us and educate more people. The person who wants to copy, best of luck. If I can help you, I'll send you my lineup.
I also want to say that as a stylist, or Neeta as a designer, or Nonita as a journalist, people try to copy us. But when I see the copied versions, I laugh. It's very amusing because I've evolved anyway. What I did in 2000, I don't want to do again, you know? And when I see people trying to copy some of my work, it's very flattering, like I said, but they get it. They never get it right.
They never get it right.
They don't understand the model, the lighting, the set, the colors. Something is not right, you know, and I've already done it. So I've moved on. So it's flattering. Keep trying and good luck. I hope they do a good job of it.
Now coming to that, you know, because we are talking of now somewhere the whole merchandise is now out. You are getting to see it. Gautam through shoots, Neeta through her shows and stores, and Nonita through the magazine. Now, the evolution in fashion is happening in a manner wherein everybody is saying that, oh, you know what? We are over seasons. We are over fashion weeks. We are over anything which was very regular that was done. Everything is now either moving to digital, or people are saying that we may not even go ahead and do that. We may just go ahead and do that for a certain section of people who we think are, as we said, discerning. How do you see this developing, Neeta, for yourself as a designer?
You know, there is a lot of talent out there. I see that digital, yes, is a new form of the new normal. And the fact that when you have so much information, people are bound to get regurgitated with the kind of information that they have. Therefore, what I feel, you know, we cannot predict what's going to happen, but all we can say with a more positive attitude is the fact that post this, we will have the leeway to come up with something new, something different, maybe using fabrics that you've never used before, maybe using creative abilities that you've never used before. Right now, you are on the ground level, you're on ground zero trying to build up again. And, you know, there's a fear factor with that. Plus, there is the fun of, you know, restarting all of it again. Thus, I feel that the talent that's going to be noticed, people will want to see them. Immaterial, whether on a show, whether it's on digital, whether it's anywhere, they will want to see them for sure. Provided you have, and the consumers become very intelligent, you know, from the facet of seeing so much to not seeing suddenly, and to getting into intelligent buying. So yes, there is going to be a way forward where you will come back to the same thing of watching it digitally or on a platform that is available to you. But there will be newer platforms that will be available, and there will be a newer tomorrow.
Gautam, what's your take on this in terms of fashion seasons going fluid, fashion weeks maybe going digital, very limited for viewing?
Well, that is bound to happen with the social distancing norms. And like I already said, in particular, you're talking about live shows. That sounds scary right now to do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I myself wasn't going. I mean, watching it. I mean, Nonita would remember this. Neeta would remember this. Back in the day when we had one fashion week, and you know, all of the media used to attend. There was a buzz. There was a this. Now we can catch it all online. You know, in our busy lives.
Yeah.
So, and I never believed in trends per se. Although I have to say that if there are lesser shows, I have less business. So let's face it. But you know what? I never believed in trends ever. I thought India in particular, I always look at myself. If I'm always dressing, I'm not dressing. I don't even own a suit. I wear my kurtas that are stylized to my taste. You know, I've always had to express myself the way I am. So I can talk about myself, and India has always been the core of everything I've ever done. You know, who I am and what I do. And I've always felt we were a summer country. This is a debate I had. I used to have a store called Grasshopper many years ago in Bangalore. And it really wasn't about trend, and it was about it was just a form of expression. And I always thought we were predominantly summer. Delhi had a small winter. Then we evolved very hugely into a bridal market and maybe a resort wear market. But this summer, winter was never really a thing in India. I remember used to style back in the day for all these cool people, and there would be tights and fur and this and that. And I used to die looking at it because we were doing it in summer. I was like, we don't have this winter. Have you ever lived in Bangalore? Have you ever lived in Chennai? Have you ever lived in Bombay? You know, why are we going so nuts over it? So I just feel that this was anyway shouldn't have happened. So if it happens now, great. Just look at your markets. There's the bridal, there's the resort. When you go for holidays and destinations, and summer is huge and comfort is huge.
Okay. Nonita, any different? Anything that you'd like to add on to this?
You know, world over, designers are writing and exhorting people that let's go away from seasons, let's go away from fashion weeks. And I'm laughing because they seem to be writing to themselves because it is their choice. They chose to have 6 to 8 seasons from pre-this, pre-that. I mean, that was really silly. And it came from greed, and nothing good comes from greed when you're being creative. Forgive me, but I'm an absolute idealist. And I think that Gautam is absolutely correct when he says there was buzz when there was one bunch of fashion weeks, just once a year. Because you have something to say. You know what? I used to write a column once a month, and I actually told them they wanted me to do it weekly. I said, I have nothing to say every week. Once a month is hard. So for fashion, what's going to happen is, and we've been talking about this, it's going to be democratic. Smaller brands that can't afford to do shows will be digital. Bigger brands may come together and say, let's do a 3-day showing. It will not be run by outside people who give you a slot and turn it political and make it about this, that, and the other. It'll be a coming together of like-minded people. And I believe in the collective of cool, which will drive us forward. You know, it's going to be a lot of collaboration. And I keep using community and collaboration because that's what we really needed for it to happen. So this is a self-correction. We're back to 2000. When it all started, and nothing gives me greater joy because everybody's voice matters. Everyone has a say now. And it's great. It's great that we can have this cleansing.
Wonderful. Now taking the topic, now taking this discussion to the next level. Now we all have discussed on what should be made, but at the same time, there is a market that it needs to be sold to. So the second section of the discussion is fashion market. Now fashion market, as we know that, as we are evolving with our merchandise, so does the fashion market, whether it is resale, whether it is retail, whether it is wholesale, the kind of stuff that they're going to buy, the kind of stuff that will be sold. So my question to you, Neeta, is how do you see this fashion market of buying and selling evolving?
The fact that the consumer is going to be very, very wary of frivolous buying is going to evolve the market into a very different direction. People will want to know what they are wearing and what is the usage of it. And people are wanting to know the fabric that they're wearing is not something that is made by killing animals or will harm their skin. Therefore, you're looking at a lot of natural fabrics.
Fashion, as Neeta, as long responsible fashion, as Nonita said.
Yes, they are going to be very responsible, and that's what at least I feel as a designer. And for the aspect of this, I feel as designers, we should be now going to the forefront, speaking to our clients and our consumers, telling them what the collection is all about, educating them about why the collection, what the inspiration, and most importantly, of that particular collection, so they don't feel that they've bought an outfit and it's just lying. There should be a purpose to it in life. You know, whatever you buy, even if it is your bridal lehenga with a blouse, that blouse should be a reusable one. Yeah. Which and you will need to guide them as a designer today. And I've been doing this for the last 34 years. I guide my clients and my brides as to what they're supposed to wear it and how they're supposed to wear it later. Mm-hmm. And it's great when people come to you and say that, you know, I bought an outfit from you 7 years back and I wear it even today the way you've told me, and it still looks good. It looks fashionable. I think that is going to be the new norm. That's what I feel basically as a designer.
Would you like to add on? Yeah, please.
Timelessness example. So for example, I'm wearing something, Nonita, I've often seen like that. You know, we wear something that you can wear differently and wear it for, it's like when you invest in a bag. Yeah. Or a black dress, which I'm sure Nonita has a lot to say about, so I'm going to give it to her right after this. You know what I mean? You can wear that black dress. Why the little black dress was so important. And I'm going to let Nonita take this. But basically, you can wear something if you're investing in a bag, you know, a funky bag or something that's pink or blue, you know, but if you invest in a black or a skin or a gray, it's got longevity. You will grow over time. You know, I used to be very funky like this background at the back, and today I wear a lot of black. You know, you evolve. Yeah. So investing wisely was always that if you're going to spend 20 lakhs on a bag or 10 lakhs or 8 lakhs on a bag, then you know what? Classics. It goes with everything that you have. Yeah. So I think timelessness and, you know, a conscious choices, responsible fashion, like Nonita said and Neeta touched upon, it's all going to happen, and I'm really going to let it go to Nonita now because I think she has a lot to say about the little black dress.
Yes.
No, I think that both Neeta and Gautam are right. You know, there is going to be a move towards sort of a classic edit of your wardrobe, right? And I'll tell you a funny story. I bought a black dress in 2000 and I wore it for 7 fashion weeks for the finale. First 2 years, I changed the accessories, then I stopped. I wore it the same way. Nobody remembered. And that's what clothing is, right? Your clothing should take you to different places just through different attitude, through the different people you meet. And I think people are going to understand that clothing is not just #outfit of the day. Yeah. You know, the frivolousness behind clothing,
yes,
I think will change.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it in a really interesting way, driven by Gen Z. You know, let's look at the fact that they want to be in their track bottoms. For them, comfort is more important than anything else. Yeah. We suffered the bandage dress. We suffered the tight clothes, the exaggerated sleeves. They want athleisure.
Yeah.
That is going to be the big trend. Yeah. People want comfort. They don't want to change. We've spent so long here. We no longer know how to go out. So they want something that they can sit in, they can go out in, they can spend an evening out. They want comfort. Yeah. When was the last time you wore a pair of high heels, Neeta? I don't remember wearing high heels. Trainers. Yeah. Trainers went from a street style thing to something that uber luxury brands started to do. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of listening in fashion as well. What designers will have to listen to what the customer wants. And Neeta already said that. Yeah. She said that while she has to educate them, she's in conversation. What's going to be critical is the conversation you have. And it's going to go up and down. You're going to listen to a designer, then the designer is going to listen to what you want, and you're going to have this exchange of ideas. And clothing through technology will have a huge degree of rewear.
Wow. Now, taking what Nonita you just mentioned, that, you know, whether it is athleisure, whether it is sneakers or whatever, people are majorly going for comfort, which is combined with fashion. And what has been seen, coming back to India as a market, what has been seen is majorly these kind of offerings are coming from the emerging designer section. Now, emerging designers, for them, it is very difficult to sustain themselves any which ways. Most of them, not all of them. And Business of Fashion did an article on this saying that if the distribution channels, if the multi-designer stores that are there, they do not go ahead and support these emerging designers, it will be very difficult for whether it is inspiration, whether it is evolution, whether it is to go ahead and take care of market, what the market needs, for us to be able to go ahead and provide all of that. What do you have to say on this? How do you see distribution evolving when it comes to these kind of offerings? Do you think there will be an extra support that will be coming from anybody? Do you think, or would you like to suggest something on these lines?
You know, no one is going to agree. Stores need things on a consignment. They need their 30%. They have bills to pay, staff to look after, electricity, blah, blah, blah. Designers always feel that it's unfair, and both sides are right. I think it's what has been missing in Indian fashion.
Yeah.
The fact that it's an industry that employs a lot of people. It clothes us, it feeds our soul, it inspires us. But the government has never supported it.
Yeah.
And you need this support. And the thing is that we've always had fashion governing councils, but they have never done the job that CFDA does.
Yeah.
Okay. My friend Bibhu won the CFDA award. They gave him a studio to operate out of. They introduced him to retailers. They helped him do an accounts course. They hooked him up with PR people. We have enough wealth. We have enough governing bodies, representatives who have a fashion week in every city every 3 weeks before the pandemic. But nobody has stepped up and said, this is what needs to be done. An incubation cell, even the incubation that's done, is so superficial. It's done for 3 weeks. Then people are taken to London. They meet the Queen and everybody claps. And you drop the designers. And I blame everybody. You know, magazines do their best. Magazines do their best by promoting them. Stylists like Gautam, you know, I've worked a lot with Gautam. He will never use international brands. He likes to push Indian brands, He'll mix it with an international brand. He'll show you how to wear it with jeans. Neeta is as homegrown as you can get. But I don't think anyone has assisted her. I don't think a single governing body has called and said, how are you managing for rent? Can we as a body go out and talk about what is going on? Can we help you with better trained staff? It's ridiculous. The fact that fashion gets zero help, even from within fashion.
Okay.
I think hats off to the Indian. Sorry, Neeta, go.
As an academician, there's one more point that I'd like to bring to what Nonita said. You know, and I think the entire scenario in India, vis-a-vis helping the next generation to kind of support them to come, because they're coming up with such amazing designs. We in India still have a slight stigma, and we still feel fashion is frivolous a little bit, because we don't apply a kind of a logistic to fashion as yet. You know, even when senior designers who've achieved everything are supported financially to grow more, it's about, okay, what's your top line, how much have you made, and on that we give you this and we give you that, whatever. But where does the younger designer go? And that is coming from understanding that there's no focus. You know, I keep harping on this all the time and speaking about it, that even a pattern maker outside the country is an educated pattern maker. But we don't have that. We have Master Gs who will work the way they want to work. So can we have people who will be educated on these technicalities that will bring up the level of fashion and the seriousness? We still don't have it. You know, and I feel, after teaching so many students, after interacting with so many people, I feel that still there is a stigma that, you know, we are not sure about the new generation. You know, it's just about their designs, which are amazing, but what about going forward? Are they able to make those clothes, and are they able to provide and supply the kind of quantum that's required?
Is there supply chain also in place? That's a big question mark that's there. Yeah, so, Gautam, you were saying something. Sorry.
If you support them, they'll do it.
No, I also feel like what everybody else is here is talking about, that the government hasn't supported. And, you know, I mean, and they really haven't. Like, I was talking to a designer in London the other day, and he said, oh, the government's given me, based on my 3-year profits, I'm getting £2,500 without asking for it. My entire staff over here, whether you're karigars or whatever, they're all being paid their 100% salary by the government. Now it's unimaginable here because they think fashion is like a bad thing. They have enough money. But I know each day I speak to designers, as I'm sure all of us here do, and my heart is breaking when I'm listening to their stories about no migrant workers, no darzis and no karigars and nobody here, and then the corona rules, and then you pay them salary. But I'm just saying, somewhere going forward for the younger designer that you're talking about, which is also what Neeta's saying, besides the government, definitely, or corporate investments coming in, which right now, I guess, with Corona, but it should have been done 10 years ago, but it wasn't. But I'm just saying, if there was a body which did, let's say there's a, Net-a-Porter, or in India, we have a Purnia's pop-up shop. It's not just about taking the clothes and retailing. Great, you do. But somebody needs to also hold their hand in terms of marketing, in guiding them on price points. Maybe if they pulled in their resources and went to a certain, body or a factory where the cost comes down. So 10 young designers produce at the same place, and then because you really need to keep your selling points in mind. And very often the prices that the younger designers sell, they're not big brands, so they shouldn't be making very expensive clothes. There is the Zara's, which people want to buy because it's cheap and fast and whatever. And a lot of their minimal clothes that they make are sustainable. They're very expensive. Someone needs to pull in the resources, have investment, and guide 10 young designers producing at the same factory, retailing it through via somebody who guides them. So there needs to be more of this system, I feel.
No. And I completely agree with you, because emerging designers, they do not have their sales number that high until the time economies of scale are not arrived at. They will not be able to bring down their costs. Until then, the costs don't come down, they will not be able to sell them at
They'll have to pull in their resources.
They'll have to pull, So that's, I think, the evolution that's coming in. Nonita, now taking this forward, now, we all are talking of responsible fashion, sustainable living, and knowing, but we also know all of this comes at a cost. Now, we have all these fast fashion brands that are providing with different silhouettes. They have, like, we talk of 2 fashion seasons, they have 12 seasons, because every month there is a season that they come out with. How do these designers cope up with this kind of thing and still follow what needs to be done, which is sustainable, responsible fashion?
By making better clothes. Here's the problem. So many of the young designers, when you turn their garments around, they're a mess. They don't last. And I think, Gautam will verify this, I only wear Indian designers. I've spent a lot of money, but I only wear Indian designers because I have great pride in them. But it's embarrassing how you have sent something for dry cleaning and the color runs, or the finish is appalling, and I still go out and I still buy it from the store because I don't want the discount. I want the store to see that their clothes sell. We have to make better quality. And I think that they have great sensibility, great taste. There's a bunch of people who are very out there. They're your classics, I mean, like bodice, which I'm wearing and I wear all the time because she's worth that extra money. But give me the finish, give me something impeccable. And the truth is, I don't think they're lazy. It's the lack of guidance. And this is what our design councils, Fashion Week board should be doing. It's not a one-off thing. You need mentorship programs. You need people who are guided forever. Do you know how long a photographer's assistant works with them? Years. 3 years, 5 years.
5 years,
Till they get one tiny shoot. Right? That's how long you need mentorship. Neeta, you've been teaching students. You know how raw they are. I've met your students as well. They're so raw, it's unfair to expect them to even create a label and most labels die between 2 and 3 years. Right? We've seen next gen, they come like stars, they vanish next season. And now, unfortunately, the recession or this pandemic, some of the best brands are shutting down because, again, there's been no support.
Neeta, would you like to say something? Because you've been involved with the education bit for some time now.
So when Nonita was very rightly saying what she was saying right now, I feel the core missing aspect is focus. If Nonita can go out and buy a particular brand for a bodice, why can't we have the Gen X understanding the core element of their sensibility. Like if you make a white shirt, a simple white shirt, focus on the damn white shirt. Just make it with an interesting collar, interesting sleeve, and just make those little changes, because that is what's going to be difficult to achieve and get. And you may, over the years of making it, master it. Therefore, if me or Gautam or Nonita wants a white shirt, we'll only go to that particular brand. And we know we will get value for money because the cost of production goes down. Plus, we know we get quality because you're only focusing on that, and you can focus on the quality of that particular thing. But with the fashion intelligence boom, like I call it, over Pinterest and Instagram, everybody wants to copy everybody, and everybody wants to do everything that everyone's doing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's where we're losing quality, quantity, and focus of what is our core strength and interest. I mean, just make just a trouser, a flare pants. Yeah, I'm going to make just flare pants. Now the length can vary, the style can vary with pockets, with your flaps or whatever you want. But then people know they can go to you for a flare pant. So that focus area is missing.
Yeah, so that polishing the uniqueness, what they should be doing, is what is lacking, and they're trying to do everything that is available out there. Cool. Gautam, do you have anything to contribute on this?
Use Google, don't abuse it. You know what I mean? If somebody gives me a brief, if someone gives me a brief, I use Google because my client expects me to show them what it is, because they can't understand sometimes when I'm speaking. I think of what I want, then I Google that thing because somebody else needs it. I don't need it, but my client wants to see it. But I never look at an image and then go backwards.
So
I think what Nonita said was quality. What Neeta's saying is timelessness and longevity and focus. And I'm saying so, and because I saw one bodice, I was there, styled her first show at Lakme. I did many of those young designers. We were there for Sabya's first show. They were all new. We were new ones. And then you see hundreds of people doing the same thing. I sometimes see senior designers trying to copy other senior designers. And I think it's a shame. I think have your voice. And you know what? If you're original, people will want you. If you're just another wannabe, then why would I want you anyway? You know what I'm saying? And going ahead, this is going to happen more. So, so just be original.
But again, coming to what Nonita said, that, in terms of the numbers of sales, like you highlighted a bodice. Now, how many bodices are there? I'm saying there are other designers as well who bring out quality products. However, they're not selling as much. And at the end of the day, then they end up shutting shops.
Because you don't have a goddess with a bodice.
You
don't have someone who's focused on making those with fantastic quality.
You really think there is nobody? I mean, barring a few, there are not many designers who bring out qualitative products and still are struggling?
Younger designers.
They're not producing quality. Of course, they'll struggle. There are people who don't.
They're producing quality and still struggling.
Yes, of course.
You don't think so? Nonita, what do you think? And Gautam as well. Designers who are producing quality, the emerging lot I'm talking of, the new designers.
Of course, Neeraj, how is everyone going to be successful? Life isn't fair. It's very simple. Not everybody does well. Either you missed the spirit of the moment, you're not marketing yourself well, you're missing your price point, your retail
slot. The points that I want you to highlight. These are the points. That's why I asked you the question. Please highlight, because all these students need to know.
Just talent alone and a great collection will do nothing for you.
Nothing for you. Exactly.
You need to have all your dots lined up. That's why I said you need first accounting so that your math ties up, right? Secondly, marketing.
Yes.
Great product. You have to deliver. Your promise of delivery has to be true. You may have the most beautiful images on Instagram and I touch your shirt and it's awful. I'm returning it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what makes true success is that capturing that ineffable moment, that inexplicable thing that becomes the trend before it is the trend.
Okay. Gautam, would you like to say something?
Pretty much what she's saying, you like you said, you can be creative. You can be a chef. You can be a great chef. So I just want to get out of fashion for a second because I've had a restaurant and I've seen this. You can be an incredibly talented chef, but you don't know how to market it, or you don't know how to present your food to people, or how to get the customers in by having value for money and the right price points, and having had probably, like Nonita earlier said, and is just having the experience, work under someone before you open your own restaurant. You try to go and out there, otherwise work for somebody. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it on your own, you better have all your dots in place. So I agree with what she's saying. I think a lot of brands back up because they said they're too expensive. They don't know how to market the imagery, maybe overselling something, and when you touch the product, it isn't. And their price points very often are really high. That's why I'm saying that somewhere people need to learn the craft, and the government or somebody needs to invest in pooling their production so the costs go down. And somebody's there to guide them in that process, because they're very raw when they come out of these schools, and they suddenly think, like I've known of people who work with Manish Arora for 3 months and they think they've become Manish, or they've joined me for a month, they think they've become me, or Nonita or Neeta. I'm sure we all have the story about this younger generation being in a huge hurry to achieve. So they need to calm their horses down, and they need to invest their time in learning under somebody, learning the craft, keeping their eyes and ears open, and have faith and have patience, which I find very...
Instead of saying, Gautam, earning your stripes, maybe they need to earn their white hair or lose a little hair, because it comes with experience. Experience should not be dismissed.
But this, even I have experienced, a lot of young people come with this feeling of entitlement, that even if they have done a little bit, they think that they're entitled to everything. A lot of times they come and they ask that, oh, you know what, if you can do, why can't I do? Then the only answer you end up giving them is, darling, because I have maybe 20, 25 years behind me. So let's put in a little bit, and then maybe you'll also have an overall growth there. Now, because now we have to wrap up the session in some time, I would like to just understand from you guys that are there any, now forget about COVID, our industry any which ways was going through troubled times before this as well, like Gautam had pointed during a conversation which I had over a telephone call. How are there any smart practices that you think need to be employed with regards to whether it is your production, whether it is your sourcing, whether it is your going ahead and doing marketing, whether it is presenting, like you're saying that, marketing and all these things become very important. Any smart practices that you'd like to go ahead and share with these students so they know that, okay, you know what, maybe these are the things that I need to take into consideration if I really want to get into fashion designing. Neeta, I'll start with you.
I think as of now, for students who are out there, who are learning and who are going to go out there in the world, keep your eyes and ears open, more than Google, read up a lot. Whatever books you can get your hands on, if you can access a library once they shut down, when you're back on the scene and you can go to a library, access books, read up, because that will kind of enhance your inspirations, and it will also give you more imagination to do something new and something wonderful. Do not use this time to bring your morale down. Listen to a lot more people digitally, and talk to people, talk to your friends, not only to help each other to stay calm and to stay out there with a lot of focus, but also to be able to learn new things. And keep sketching, keep drawing, keep coming up with new ideas, because this can be a data bank that you can keep for yourself for later. You never know. It's a highly creative aspect. So when combined with digital, creativity and digital will come up, you will come up with something new, something different that, the designers who have started long back may not come up with. So that is what you can bring to the industry, and I think that's what's required.
Okay, thank you. Nonita.
Form collectives of cool. Find your people. Pool your resources. Gautam said it. I'm just putting it, I'm dressing it up. But find your tribe. Pool your resources. Learn to speak a common language. Like Neeta said, be there, talk to your friends, be each other's support structure. It creates a movement. And with that movement, you can create a new audience and you can move forward. You need that momentum, but you need find your tribe.
Any smart practices, Gautam, I'm coming to you. Any smart practices at Harper's that you're planning to put towards this fashion evolution in coming times?
we've done a bunch of stuff, and I think that whether it was creating the rewear movement, which we call a movement because you see it in the pages of the magazine in a fashion shoot, you see it in the front of the book, you show it by example. We created this whole trend of conscious beauty where we wanted people to think about clean beauty. What we wanted people to do was think about how they consume. And our whole conversation has been think about how you produce, think about how you consume, think about the future. So adding meaning and adding purpose to what you do, it actually helps. That's what causes longevity. I remember asking the creative director of Hermes, I said, how is Hermes going to survive in a world where everyone just wants the latest Apple phone? And they said, by being 100% honest.
Okay, lovely. Gautam?
I think like Nonita said, finding your tribe awareness. I think one thing is very important. Like if you see Neeta's body of work, it's legendary. When I first worked with her at Lakme, I was a bit starstruck. She had done Chandni and all these films. You see, Lambi Race Ka Ghoda is what people here are on this fossils, maybe. Nonita, I've been a massive fan of hers. I think what people really need to do as students, and this is something you can do on your own time. It's very easy to say, oh, I know it all and I complain. But you know what? It is your own passion, whether you read. And I think right now, if you're going to look for a job, there's very few out there. There's going to be even tougher. Times are going to get tough. So one of the things they should do is styling itself has evolved so much. Let me talk about styling a little bit. They're different. Each of it, there's a celeb styling that has evolved. There's the film styling. There's the editorial stylist, the commercial stylist, the television, the print. So please be aware. You can't just write to me. I may be good at one or two of the kinds of styling, but for example, I don't really do much of celeb styling. So if you need that, you need to know each of us who exists, whose sensibility resonates with you. Similarly, magazines. What are the different flavors of a Vogue versus Harper's versus Elle versus this? Or designers, Neeta versus Tarun versus Bodice versus that. You need to really, this is your own homework. Because I get flooded with resumes where I'm like, why are they coming to me? They should go to somebody else. Do they realize that it has evolved so much? So choose the right magazine you want to work with, the right stylist you want to work under, the right designer you want to work under. And nobody else has to teach you this. This is your own passion. And I think a lot of students join fashion just because they think it's glamorous. It's a lot of hard work. It really is a lot of hard work. So at least do your homework. And you know what? Those people who really love it probably know each of us, or the ones they want to know, as in within our departments. And they really need to study a lot of what is the difference between each magazine, each designer, which kinds of styling it is. It's not just a stylist anymore. It has evolved so much, and I've seen it grow. So it's 7 types of stylists. Who do you want to work with? So do your research, be passionate, and apply to the right person.
No, you know what? Thank you all so much, because you have shared such wonderful details about what these students are always looking forward to. Because like we discussed in the session, that our education system when it comes to fashion is not as evolved as one would want it to be. Yes, whatever the government norms and policies and regulations are going to be there, that's their call. One can only go ahead and suggest. However, one can work on themselves. So please go ahead, all the students, like everybody on the panel said, please find your uniqueness. Be diligent in what you really want to do. Do your research properly, because these are the only things that will go ahead and make you a responsible buyer, seller, citizen, human being, everything. So when it comes to fashion today and tomorrow, we all know that tomorrow is going to be all about responsible fashion. Responsible fashion being that you really need to know what you're wearing, why you're wearing. Everybody would be looking into that. So please go ahead and find that responsibility in every aspect of your life, because fashion is not just only on the outside. Like somebody mentioned on the panel, clothes don't wear you, you wear the clothes. So you need to shine in them. That's the most important bit. Thank you so much, Nonita. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you,
Thank
Neeta,
you
for coming and joining in. And what else to say? Back to you, Raja.